Libra, this is your forecast for the month of December 2018. This is a general reading for Libra Sun, Libra Rising, or Libra Moon. For a more rounded overview, please watch your rising and moon sign as well. So Libra, this first week you're dealing with air energy. This could very well be you or another Libra, an Aquarius, or a Gemini. Could be the sun, moon, or rising, male or female, or just the traits of this king will be important this first week. So this is a week where you're probably trying to set some kind of new wheels in motion. You want to handle something more effectively than you have in the past, and you'll be very focused on making some decisions. And, your interest will be in something that is fair, something that is balanced. And in some cases, if you can't make the decision, you will be connecting to decision makers, men of authority, men who have some kind of command or special knowledge that they will be able to impart to you. You could be getting some advice, some counsel, and it may come in the form of legal advice, medical advice. Some of you may be dealing with surgery. You could be dealing with a legal situation, a medical illness, or just having to cut through the fog of a situation to gain some clarity, to get some information. So for some of you, again, this is going to represent some form of negotiation or arbitration, somebody who may be a specialist of some sort, could be a government official or a professional person. But in the positive, this is somebody who's looking out for you. They're giving you advice in order to give you some kind of edge, an upper hand, or to protect you in some way. They're looking out for your interests. Now, negatively, you could be dealing with somebody who's very aggressive or unfair. They're taking their power and they are abusing it. They could even be corrupted by power in some way. Or there could be a reticence to make a decision. Somebody who is overly cautious for whatever reason. Or the other end of the spectrum, somebody who's ruthless, who's cunning, who's going after something with everything they have without regard for others. And this could be a week where you want to make decisions and you don't want to be limited. You want to do what you want to do. And so for some of you, this is a week where you're going to get some illumination. Either you're giving advice or receiving it. You're trying to solve a problem. And it may mean that you initiate something, that you take on a leadership role in order to improve a situation. For some of you, again, you may be cutting someone off, cutting something out of your life, or you may be cut off in some way. For some of you, you're having to deal with poor judgment or indecision or something unfair or somebody trying to get back at you. It could be issues of revenge or somebody who's just very opinionated or sarcastic. And hopefully they're not taking this to any kind of extreme. So this is a week of making decisions that are important in order to move ahead, gain in some way, protect or defend yourself. And for some of you, the issue is, again, that hesitation in making the decision. It could be you're waiting for more information, you're waiting to get some advice, you're waiting for the other person to make that move. And so for some of you, you may be connecting with another person and maybe you have common interests, but that's going to be short-lived. It's a connection that serves a purpose, which is, again, to give you some kind of advice or counsel. Or if you're attracted to somebody, maybe you're not acting on that. There's a hesitancy and you're both attracted to one another, but because neither of you will step out there, then, things fizzle out. For others of you, this is going to be a challenging week because you're not on the same page with somebody. You may say one thing and do something different, or somebody else will. So there's some miscommunication, some misunderstandings, some mixed signals that are weighing in on your situation. Now, the second week, you have this Two of Wands. And for some of you, this is a review of some sort. This is a very important card because it's falling in this number 2 slot. Perhaps you're getting some advice about something that you want to do. Maybe you're being enterprising, or you're partnering up in business with this King of Swords. So for some of you, you're doing a review of some opportunity that's on the horizon, and you could be involved in some negotiations. Maybe there's someone that's representing you, or someone is acting as an agent, or you're waiting for some kind of answer for someone. It could be, you're doing a review of travel or business opportunity. Maybe you're connecting to a financial advisor, or an accountant or money manager, and you're going over your finances, or you've been offered a job by someone in authority, or you have the possibility of gaining more authority. For others of you, you're trying to right the scales and get some kind of balance because you've reached your limit in some way. Perhaps you've overextended yourself and you're having to review that. So this could be a week where you are trying to see, what you're getting out of a situation. You're doing a review. And, you may be in a very prominent position. You may have the world in your hands, and yet you know that you could do better, you could move farther ahead, that there's more out there for you, and you want to take a look at that. So this is a week where you may be using the King of Swords, as a strength to dominate a situation, to make some decisions, or to review some kind of opportunity. Or you could be getting some advice from him about how to move forward on something. And this is a week that ties to your ego, your desires, your will, and your own personal power. So for some of you, again, maybe you're trying to defend yourself in a legal situation, or you're trying to gain financially in some way. And so this is a waiting period while you are reviewing what your next move would be. And it's important that you're not impulsive, that you review the facts at hand, that you fully understand a situation and cut through any fog to gain clarity, so that you will not be getting some kind of ego check. So this is about being realistic. There's some opportunity that is presenting itself, either at work or home or both, where you can make some positive changes, some changes that you have the authority to make some decisions about. And it could be that with the help of others, or the urging of others, you're able to do something, maybe to drive your point home, or to clear yourself of something. Maybe you're involved in some kind of legal situation and you need some vindication, or just, some kind of negative circumstance. In other situations, this is about, backing out of something. You are coming up with some ideas about how to remove yourself diplomatically from a situation, whether that's a job, a relationship, a circumstance, depending on how you feel about it and how attached you are to it. So you have to, stay grounded. You may be joining forces with others, but you have to make sure that you know what your limitations are. If you try to overreach or overextend yourself, again, you could be falling back to the ground. So you're looking at what you are receiving. And so you're focused on trying to attain something, whether that's success, recognition, or you're coming to terms with some kind of truth based on your information. Maybe it's time to stop struggling with something, or to accept something as it is. Now, you may be having difficulty making decisions. Maybe you're putting something off. Again, it could be you're waiting for somebody else to make a move, or you're in some kind of negotiation. And the more dynamic, the more original, innovative, and bold you can be is going to be important, because you may not be getting the support that you need or deserve. Maybe you're not getting the support from this King of Swords, or maybe he's helping you to overcome some kind of challenge where you haven't gotten what you deserved. You have to make sure that you are, fully vested, because if you have any indecision or self-doubt or lack of confidence, you could get played. Somebody may be trying to bully you or intimidate you, especially if that King of Swords is using his power abusively. You may get manipulated because you didn't listen to your own instinct. So this is a time for you to get that wise counsel, but double check the facts and trust your gut about how to move forward. Now, the third week, you have the Strength card. So this is a major week for you where your fortitude, your strength, your character, your determination, and your leadership skills are going to be important. For some of you, this means a tie to a Leo person. But for others of you, this is focused on your self-expression, your creativity, maybe how you seek entertainment, how you fulfill your ego, and perhaps keeping your ego in check. How to positively wield your influence over others. And again, it may center on a romance, creativity. For some of you, you may even have a decision that you have to make about a beloved pet. So this is a week where, your strength, whether that's physical, emotional, mental, financial, is going to be important. You could be reviewing something because you're in arbitration. And for some of you, maybe you're making some decisions about healing in some way. Again, maybe you're connecting to a surgeon or a doctor, whatever. Or perhaps if this is about an animal, you're dealing with maybe somebody who works with animals. For others of you, you're trying to handle things more effectively with your health. You may decide that you want to work out, particularly with weights. Maybe you're going to decide to go to the gym. Or maybe you're dealing with athletes, or you're becoming more athletic. But again, it's coming to terms with your shadow self, your urges, and getting past that. Now, some of you, you're reviewing a decision because maybe you're weak at this time. Maybe, you're sick, or you're dealing with sick people or dependent people, or somebody who is not in control of themselves, or perhaps that's you. And so this is a week where your loyalty, your friendship, your generosity may be important, because you may be focused on using that King of Swords to overcome some kind of problem, and your willpower is important. This is a week where you could be in a very strong position, especially if you have faith in your own abilities. So this is a week to employ your courage. You may be recovering after an illness. Maybe you're focused on your health. You're making some better balanced decisions. You're trying to empower yourself. Or perhaps you're looking at your finances. You want to gain power over that. You want to become more self-reliant. So you're having to use diplomacy, tact, in order to move ahead. And for some of you, you have to make sure that you don't allow your fears to get the better of you. Fear of failure, fear of being alone, being rejected, fear of not being what you think you should be. So once again, you're doing a review, you're seeking some sensible advice. It's important to trust your own inner guidance, to do a reassessment of some sort. And you may have to wait. Maybe you're waiting for that answer and you're having to be patient about it. You're examining yourself. And maybe there's something that, you are, maybe you're having to get your instincts in check. This is a week where it may be important to step back in order to regain your confidence if necessary. You may have to try to recharge your batteries or your perspective, or you may have to cut something out if somebody's, playing a guilt card or manipulating you in some way and making you feel that you haven't done what you should have done. So your fortitude is important. Overcoming any fears or doubts and coming to terms with that shadow self, your instinctive urges, perhaps your sexual desires, your creativity, your self-expression, that's going to be key this week. Now, the last week you have the Four of Swords, and so this is also important by virtue of where it's falling. So the last 3 weeks are particularly important. That second week and the fourth week, even though they're not major cards, they're emphasized for you. So you're doing a review of something. could be a vacation for pleasure. It could be to take a break, to take better care of yourself, to recover from an illness, to visit somebody who's ill, to take care of someone who's ill. You're trying to figure something out. And you may be in need of a rest. Maybe you, again, are recuperating from something. It could be that you have an unwelcome guest and you're trying to review how to handle things better, but keep your ego in check at the same time. Maybe you're dealing with a situation where you're looking at your finances. Maybe people are striking at work, or maybe you're not making the money that you want. For some of you, maybe you've been exiled. It could be you who is the outcast in some way. So you're doing a review of this situation. You're contemplating, and maybe, you're in preparation mode. You're reconsidering your position about something, and you're taking some time alone to do that, to regroup. For some of you, this is, a spiritual situation. You want to handle things better by getting in touch with Source. Maybe you're meditating. For others of you, you want to handle things more effectively concerning how you're going to entertain yourself. Maybe you're planning a vacation. Again, others of you, you're recovering from illness or dealing with people who are. Or if you're in negotiations, maybe you're calling a truce with regard to something. But this is a slow week where there's not a lot of activity, communication, exchanges, because you're trying to decide what your next move should be. Maybe nothing's going on in a romance and you want to handle things more effectively. You're trying to take your relationship and move it to the next level, or a relationship with a partner. Maybe it's something creative, something that you've romanticized. Or for some of you, maybe you're going to go on a honeymoon. Or for others of you, you want to handle things more effectively and open yourself up to love by being more generous, more open-hearted. Now, this is a week where, something could occur. There's this pause, this review, but something may occur that rejuvenates you, restores you, or swings the other way. You now feel at risk somehow. There's a lack of motivation. Maybe your security is in jeopardy somehow. It could be, again, because you're spread too thin, or something going on with your finances, somebody manipulating you. But you are ending some kind of process where you're having to regroup and look at something and do a reassessment. And you will be tempted to go in either of two directions, two extremes. Either you're not going to do anything at all, you're just going to wait it out, or you're going to try to do too much. So again, your strength is important. You could be at a place, though, where this is a happy pause for you. You've reached this peak and there's not a lot of movement, but you may appreciate this pause, especially if you're satisfied with how things are, with the status quo. Again, you're not jumping to conclusions. You're not taking that Two of Wands and being impulsive or creating some kind of disturbance before you have all the facts, or, assuming the worst about a situation just because it's not moving. But for others of you, you're having to figure out what you're going to do because it's just too many things that have not been taken care of. Too many things in limbo. Maybe, your strategy is you just hope something is going to go away, or there's something in your life that, you can't get your ego in check. You still think you're going to save this thing, or you're going to resurrect something that's dead. But your reading strongly suggests looking at the facts, because being in denial of those facts are going to hurt you. Now, this could be a period where you don't feel like you have a lot of options, and maybe that's why you're seeking some advice. It could be, though, that something has happened and you're going to do a review. Somebody has stepped out of line and you want to know why they did what they did. You're waiting to hear from this person for an explanation. What does this mean? Why did you do this? Maybe, and you want an apology. Or maybe you've done something and now you're going to go under the radar. You don't want to talk about that anymore. Or maybe it's taking all of your strength not to say something. But this is a period where, not dealing with issues, not confronting something in the time that you should only complicates it. So if you're procrastinating and just hoping it'll all work out in the end, you could be putting yourself in jeopardy. Perhaps you're not on solid footing and you need to get grounded right now. Or for others of you, you need to get your ego in check. You need to come to some kind of spiritual awakening. And perhaps that means, again, getting in touch with Source. This is all being driven by this King of Pentacles. This is Earth energy. This is Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, Sun, Moon, or Rising, male or female, or just the traits of this King. And so there's a desire overall to establish something of permanence, whether that's a relationship or an endeavor, your finances. This is about being very practical. And perhaps you're looking at issues surrounding a review of death or illness or taking care of something because you are the provider. Or maybe this is about business and you're trying to figure out what to do. And so you could be getting some advice. Now, this is a king who is not prone to anything that's not a sure bet. He wants a profitable reality, which means he's not going to go chasing rainbows. So this is about getting very grounded. Maybe there's not a lot of imagination. This is about the tried, the true, the tested, the traditional. And so whatever he's connected to, it may have to do with large sums of money, or making money, or taking care of his money. For some of you, these financial worries may be affecting your health negatively. So you're being very careful about how you spend money, how you save it, and that could be the issue. So for some of you, the explanation is the justification of purchases. What is the bottom line? Is this useful? Do we need this? So you're looking at where your abundance is, how you can make something grow, or whether you need to tighten your belt. Now, you could be dealing with somebody who's very tight. Maybe they resent having to spend money. It could be, you're going to sacrifice a romance in the name of making money, or you're connecting to somebody for their power or their wealth. Or again, this King of Swords doesn't want to be limited, and the King of Pentacles may decide to run over people in order to meet his goal. So you could be dealing with some power struggles, some material issues, some challenges, some frustration. Maybe somebody's a workaholic or they're materialistic, and that has to be addressed. This is a period, though, where you're looking at joining forces with somebody. You're more inclined to partnering, to settling down, to committing to something, especially those people who are in alignment with your goals. So you're being very discerning, very critical. You may want some explanations. You may want some advice. You're being selective about who you get involved with. And for some of you, you're putting the offer out there. Maybe you're going to offer a date to somebody, or you're going to tell them something. You're going to make some kind of formal declaration or offer a proposal, whether that's business, romantic, relationship, because you have found a match for you. The same goals, the same outlook, the same ambitions. There's a strong focus on worldly success, getting some sound financial advice, your ambitions, being very security-minded. So you could be dealing with, trying to manage your investments, increase your income. Maybe you're involved in a real estate transaction of some sort, and you want to move up the ladder of success. So for some of you, this is about that money in the bank. You're involved in some money talks and protecting your money and putting in effort to attain whatever it is that you need. But for others of you, this is an issue where somebody's being very critical. The King of Swords can be insensitive. He's not in touch with his emotions, and you may be involved with somebody who's very controlling or critical, or you may be taking those traits on yourself. Now, this is going to center around your ambitions and, communication of some sort. You're doing this review of your partnerships, review of your attachment to something, your investment, whether you're suspicious, whether you're loyal, and you want to establish some sense of stability and security. So you're focused on laying the initial stages that will provide the foundation for you financially, emotionally, and security-wise for the long term. And you're going to want some answers. You're going to be very direct. Whatever is happening, it's going to inspire you to take something that's already ongoing, an older situation, and deal with it in a new way. You're going to take it to the next level, or some of you are starting something new. Whatever this is, it's going to happen rather quickly. And again, it relates to your security, your peace of mind, and your sense of belonging. Now, it's going to tie to your partnerships, some kind of profitable contract or deal, or perhaps conflicting opinions. There's not a lot of sensitivity in this reading. It could be somebody's cutting off their emotions. They're devoid of emotion, or there's a lack of sensitivity, or it's necessary due to circumstance for logic to rule. And there's some kind of dilemma or uncertainty. You may be conflicted with others, conflicted with self. Somebody could be instigating conflict, or you may be uncertain and trying to get some information before you make a move. Whatever this is, there's an ebb and flow to the situation. It's a cyclic issue that requires further thought from you. However, movement is supported. You have some strong conviction about something. And maybe somebody, has the authority, but they can only push a situation so far. They can give you the advice, but they can't create the final outcome. There is a plan, a goal, or some form of manipulation that you will be acting on with total commitment and total conviction. And it's likely tied to an increase in your material and domestic activities. Whatever this is, even though it's going to unfold quickly, it's going to take longer for your concerns to be resolved to your satisfaction. Fortunately, you do have strong self-belief. Whether you're right or wrong is not the issue. You believe in what you're doing. And so you may be acting on an impulse that feels right to you and convincing yourself that you can't fail. Your challenge number is number 2, which means that you're going to be very busy. You're going to be very active toward the concerns of number 2. And your resolutions regarding number 2 are going to take more time. And it's going to weigh more heavily on your future. And the issues will be surrounding opposition, duality, division, and flux and challenge. All right, Libra, I hope you enjoyed this reading. Let me know with your comments, and don't forget to subscribe. You can also support me on Patreon, join me on my blog for daily posts, on Instagram, and over at Vimeo. And of course, you can always book a personal reading at thealchemistastrologer.com.